I don't have much much power on this mobile thing. I got the second one charging, and I have a couple supposedly being delivered today. So we'll find out. Now you have to investigate that. Looks like they were trying to extort me for some reason. Again, they want you to believe it's this, that, other thing. I think the Chinese or the Russians are the ones that set these people up. I believe it's that far. Like Brennan. Brennan actually works for like the Russians or the Chinese. They don't care if they fight them, but what they don't want is for our agencies to be functional. And Brennan and Clapper and Tennant and Mueller made our because they deep stated made the you know made the agencies non-functional. Like the deep state existed before, but it was just like they kept the workers there because they knew the work had to get done. But these idiots, they don't care. They just do propaganda. Everything they do is propaganda. Looking for a four-leaf clover that I overlooked before. I can't find this. It's on my other phone. That's what it is. I was going to change. Hashem wanted me to change the image. We'll change it. I guess he wants me to make. Hashem wants me to make T-shirts with the show with the chauffeur Stam image. She's cursed. They're cursing me. See, they want me to say she. It's a whole bunch of them. It's even foreign nations. So what happens is even metaphysically, these foreign nations are backing these people. Right? That's why you get into that immigrant thing. But again, some people that don't like immigrants will also be part of the thing. Again, it's the way spy operations and Satan operations work. And their goal is to take both sides of the narrative and then shift it. So they'll act like they support me, but of course, never support me. They just so someone else doesn't do it. Right. And apparently, okay, yeah, in the reports, like you can pass the investigation, but they won't do a exit report that says this has already been cleared. Uh, they said I was cleared like 50 times back when it was real, but nobody was writing the scam is not to write the exit report. And then they get to operate. I mean, they already know they're going to cause people to fall. Hopefully, they didn't go in my car and steal my garage door operator. It's definitely not really available. I know I put it somewhere. Maybe it's down here. Oh, hmm. Yeah, it's like them to do that. Believe me, but at least they did it with their mind. No, I've been here yesterday. I know I made sure I put it somewhere right, before I closed out at night because I would need it in the morning. So yeah, like I said, be very careful. They're they're, they're devils. They're witches at the level of devil. They may have gotten in my vehicle. I have to look around for it. I'm not going to do it over here by the storage unit. Somebody will make up a story. So, I got operators. They just hire people, and they get addicted to the money. Right, so they'll do anything. Again, I believe they did drug me here. So it takes them generally probably 6 months to a year to develop that person that will be willing to break in and drug. Right. And usually, they're usually an addict or they're addicted to money. There's people that are addicted to money, right? And that's because it'll never be enough for them. That's the kind of people they look for. because if you get 4 million and they're still killing people, right? Now they're murderers. Every last one of those people are partaking in murder, and they're just tricking. Why would they murder the person? Because they're murderers. Do we understand that concept? Because that's the scam, that the person is this evil, bad person, right? No, not good for sure. It was in here. See if I can find it. No, it's no little thing. You're not going to succeed. The government of the United States will not succeed unless you extend the investigations to that level of deep state. If you're going to let the people be deep stated, then the government will never succeed. Correct. Because that really is what the deep state is. The rest is just to control the politicians, right? So they don't restrict the deep state. So as part of that, they may get you to just hyper focus on yourself and saving yourself, and then I mean, something could have happened later in the night, and I could have took it inside, but it should be readily available in my vehicle. Now they're scammers. They would come in, they would break in and steal it. I mean, face it, every time I move, they break in. That's their thing, right? Because they want to continue the parent, quote unquote, paranoia. Oh, they'll go to hell, man. They're not getting out of hell. That part, no matter what happens on this planet, they're going to hell. And they go, well, we're the church. Well, that's nice. That's nice. Nice of you to inform God on yourselves. thing. I didn't lose it. Right. I don't think I could have, but right. Go out for the day. They will go to hell. Look, if you're in a church and you projected your pussy at me, don't pull your. We got a lot of what is it? The one woman's the wife of the pastor, ran all the ministries and stuff, and she embezzled millions of dollars. I mean, come on, we all know who you all are. Go look at the LDS Church for embezzlement. I'm sure it's there. They're crooks, man. They hate cops. If a chief of police is harassing a former cop, bet your bottom dollar that that chief of police is like the old skill of the sheriff, doing something wrong. Right? I agree. No doubt that Kansas is one of them. Now, if you're going to change that investigation into something political, if you're going to screw up all, right? You need to make sure that you're doing it and getting rid of the deep state because it's vermin, it's cancer. It'll just keep growing. Right? She's okay. Yeah. Apparently, they're telling people that I'm not disabled and I'm not sick. I just again because they're drugging me. Yeah, they may have got it. They do it all the time. They steal stuff and love to watch me run around looking for it. They got cameras. There's no doubt. Right. They use the highest tech that we have available to law enforcement to commit criminal enterprise crime. Pocket or anything like that. I don't have pockets usually. I wear a fanny pack, but it's not in there. Now, I remember last night, I can't remember exactly where I left it, but I remember last night I set it up so I would be able to get it in the morning real quick and do this. And they probably got it in my vehicle. Oh, they got keys to it a long time ago. But I knew this. Hashem told me if you go and change the lock, they're going to pay the person that changes your lock, that makes that key to make them a key. And it's going to be, they don't care. It's funny money. It's government money that's been trickled out to the public. They don't care. Well, the problem that they never got arrested. Like these a lot of these billion crooks. That's how they got. That's how they don't even invent this stuff. They just what they do is they steal the information. They steal my information and they run with it. Right. Well, that techies are crime bosses. Most of the stuff that you see them putting out there for people have been stolen from others that they've killed or that they enslaved that work for them. Right? And they say, "Oh, I invented it." Elon Musk's an idiot, man. He's an idiot. Idiot scammer. Not brilliant. Damn, you ought to believe you could live on fucking Mars. We don't want a guy that says fucking church. Well, then don't fuck me, and I won't say fuck. How about that? Weirdos. Absolute. What they were doing is they were setting me up for extortion, right? And to continue the investigation. Away. They do it every time. They're pulling all the adults away. Now, part of the church is I have to go to the sacrament, so I was going to be around the young people, the young boys. Not paranoia. We know what you're all doing. So they used a woman to try to turn sexuality on in the church while it would be around the boys and see if they could shift it to the boys because they're spelling me while they're doing it. Disgusting they are. Every last one of them. Because that's who they are. They don't get into it unless they are that. Again, sex investigation is full of people that are devils. And they also will cover over the crimes of the billionaires and things like that. That's where the Epstein thing just that's how the Epstein thing disappeared. Now, I don't say they went easy. I believe they were psychologically operated into covering it up. They were also paranoid in the end that they just easier to do it that way. Right. I'm sure they're in Ohio. Ohio, I'll put you in hell too. What you're going to see in Kansas after I leave, you're going to see it crash. Happens every time. The key is to keep me here because then Satan props you up. Right. And they're probably trying to do that now. Now, I put it in my car so I could find it. I know that for a fact. So I'm going to have to get the maintenance people to somehow reset that and get me in. Nah, it was stolen. Now they may have taken it and threw it in the back of my vehicle somewhere, and I'll find it in, you know, in a month or something. Right. Don't believe you're being paranoid when you destroy something you see, which means this: you put parameters in there that it can only harm the thing that's part of it. Right. But if they're using somebody around you to try to paranoid you out, just curse the shit out of it and let God handle it. Right. Just don't have that curse effectuate without God's discernment. Right. Because something's responsible for you seeing it in that way. I'm almost positive I did. I guarantee you every one of those social media government rejects that went over there, just like that lady in Walmart who handles the governance. She's corrupt. She runs the criminal enterprise from Walmart. Right. She's that side of the house. Then we have the social media people. No, it's not supposed to be CIA if that's what they're telling you it is. Because what you're doing is you're admitting the CIA is committing crimes for personal use. That's what you're admitting to. All. Yeah, these things, well, it's at least a spell. They'll still pay for it if it's a spell. Right. But I'm almost positive I left it so I could find it in the morning. So they must have got in here and grabbed it real quick. Well, I'll go over to the office in a little bit and see if they can get me in. They spend their whole life doing this. I think it's funny. They got, their command centers are bigger than ours. Right. They have spycraft command centers secreted all across this country, and they use a lot of people at the fusion centers. You don't get in the fusion center until the criminal boss approves of you. That's what's actually happening. So now they're all getting all horny on one another because I'm walking around trying to find something that they took away from me. Right. That's their sexuality. I'm trying to tell you that woman's sexuality is to try to make me act out sexually in public. That's her sexuality. So it's a sex crime. Right. John Luna's girlfriend's guilty of sex crimes. She ran around trying to sexualize people. Yeah, there was even they even spoke about it in a Republican congressional hearing. Right. Correct. That's a sex crime, trying to sexualize people. They said that what did they say she was doing? She was projecting her sexuality. Right. They did use that kind of term, or putting it out there or something like that. Or it was in a report or something like that. Right. They still haven't finished doing that. Well, that's how they get their job. That's how they stay in their job. That's how they become untouchable. Because, like, if you have sex with Robert Mueller while he's in AUSA, you're golden, right? Right. Right. You have sex with George Tenet, same thing. But I think they might be kind of gay. They try to gay everyone else, which is a sign. That's one of the signs that they're like gay but can't deal with it. And then they try to put that on the other person as their gain. Omar Mateen was gained by the FBI and CIA, most likely, including these people, whoever they are. If they're like, you know, shadow people, right? That's why that happened. Tried to do the same thing with me, and just they get frustrated more and more every day. Looks like to me they stole it, because I know I was wanting to have it out so I could find it real easy, right? They won because they stole that. They won. They're going to hell, a bigger hell now. I'm just telling you. Oh no, but we're in the church and we're doing God's work. This is part here. I found it. It was a spell. Thank you, Larry. Yeah, I knew it was possibly a spell, but it's still you don't say, "Oh, stupid me." See how the world's wrong in the way it sees everything, and that's why we can't stop it. It's not stupid me. They cursed me. Right? They stole it with their curse. So no, that's a thief. God and I were able to bring it back so I could use it. Right. But they cursed me. And they stole it with a curse. And God says that's even worse. They don't have to walk into your vehicle and steal it. They don't have to walk into your house and steal something. They curse you and you can't see it until God can heal it. So again, they're going to hell for that also. Now, the person that physically steals, I sound like Yeshua and David now, right? And the person that physically steals won't go to hell because they're the ones that curse that person to be a thief so they can point at that. There's the thief. Right. See? So, that's the sociopath that's in the sociopaths that are in law enforcement. You see, this is a scam. Oh, the Fusion Center called us. You were doing dirty, all of you. That's all it takes. Right. And we know in churches we're finding embezzlers everywhere. We may have found sextortionists. The OnlyFans woman isn't up from these people. Right. At least she's honest. Trying to make an honest day's wages for money. See, the operation worked. Well, I mean, I wasn't baiting them, but it became bait. Right. Always to explain what the algorithms are doing to people. Right. Sexually and otherwise. Thank you, Larry. No, I told you, like, maybe you didn't hear me because the battery had died in the other thing. Right. I told you it may be a spell. And that yesterday Hashem was showing me that I could have something right in front of my face and I can't find it because they're cursing me. Again, it's the same thing with not being able to be married. No, you're not sorry. You're just sickos. Sickos looking for a world that you can own to pervert for your weird sexuality of causing the change. Their sexuality is to cause a change in somebody else's sexuality, a criminal change, at least an immoral change, but a criminal change most likely. No, it's a witch's coven, but again, saying it's a witch's coven doesn't describe it because they're at the level of devil, so it's a devil's coven, right? They're all independent devils. I'm an angel of God. If you affect me, you're a devil. That's just the way it works. No, I don't know where the investigation went, but his kind of girlfriend there. I don't know who she is really. She stalked me before in my life, but and then tried to make me try to stalk her, right? Or make me out to be a stalker at least. And make me is the word that she wants in there, and they want in there, but to cause me to do it, right, by taking what they're doing is they're taking down the victim's brain so far that they can't. They have nothing left when they do it, right? When they commit the crime, so they develop a psyop that's the key to entrapment. Now, my opinion on January 1st is yes, I agree that they were psyop. I agree that I said I was the first person to say it. But you have a responsibility not to give into the psyop to a certain level. at a certain level, at a certain stage of the game. So again, I think both sides are somewhat wrong in that. And we're talking about storming the Capitol building. I mean, duh. Right. But yeah, I was the first person to say we're psyop. Right. Because it's a given. People make millions and millions of dollars of psyoping crime all across the country. Psyoping crime into existence. Oh, yeah, she she may have killed John. I mean, she may have did something to John's head. She did shit to my head. Right. So John may have killed himself. Like she may be like, I don't know her, but she could be like a Black Widow type where, you know, right, fatal attraction, whatever it is. And she may have did shit to John's head and he may not even have known it. And then boom, he kills himself. And then she's the unofficial widow in the marshal or in the FBI, you know? And then she gets fame because she's the unofficial widow. It's almost like the Bible, isn't it? The world is interesting. I don't know. She could be one of the. She could be a saint. I don't know. But when you look at it, of course, I've thought it over the years, right? Because they were trying to kill me too. Although I don't think it was right what they did to John. Right. And the people that killed John are probably the people that killed that other attorney or got him to commit suicide. The guy that disappeared. So what they do is they're like, oh well, it wasn't murder. It turned out to be suicide. Oh, okay, suicide, but murder by suicide. Right. That's the point, and that's what you should be looking for in your investigations of intelligence. You're looking for the murders by suicide. Right. No, I don't think the Clintons killed. What was that guy's name? He was one of the famous ones. Vince Foster. They did, and then tried to blame it on the Clintons. Right. But that's how you control the Clintons. You see, try to get rid of that too. Don't even look at the Clintons. It's bullshit. They may have done stuff, but they're victims of the deep state. So everything you see in these investigations, or outside the government investigations, media investigations of the Clintons, generally was put there by the real people that were manipulating that were the deep state, should I say? So the deep state want to control the Clintons because they don't want them changing the system, right? And may have actually attacked them. When was Vince Foster? Not Vince Foster. When was Hansen? So we got to look at when Hansen was arrested. Right? And when Ames was arrested, and see what happens in government around that, like in that time period, because they may be trying to send these, spycraft messages. Right. So Vince Foster may have been killed because they arrested Hansen, or did that go into Bush? I can't remember. Right. Thank you, Larry. We got to remember during the 90s, it was the takeover, right? So when they started, there are people that knew the internet was coming. And that before they even launched the internet, they were all talking about how they were going to able, because they had already operated. The way I understand it, again, I had spies talking to me in the mind. The way I understand it, they believe, well, not they believe, spies had already operated billboards, chat rooms and billboards that you call into before the internet was up. So this was an opportunity to expand that level of corruption. Now that level of spycraft, but that level of also corrupt spycraft. So they had already extorted people based upon being able to do stuff in chat rooms and other things. Right. I was operated before I got into the government. Okay. Right. Right. Well, they were doing stuff around my wife, right, trying to get her out of the picture. See, that's a spycraft thing, to get the significant other out of the picture. It's more successful if you can do that, or if you can again turn the significant other. What they do is they turn the significant other against that person, and then that significant other, of course, eventually will be moved away. Well, because then they isolate you. Like everybody, who would think that the government of the United States would cock block you for the rest of your life? Who would even think that? And then also the criminal enterprise that's with them. Well, it was the government. I'm owed billions of dollars. I'm just telling you, it's not fake. I'm not paranoid. Right. I mean, so you get rid. You say, "Well, I got to get rid of my wife because she's driving me nuts here," and because they're operating her. Eventually, she's going to become this animal that attacks you for everything they do. Right? So when they attack her, she would attack me. Oh, believe me, some of these people are already dead and in hell. For all I know, the 7 CIA people, I think it was 7, over in, they had that bomber in Iraq or whatever it was. I think it was Iraq, or maybe in Afghanistan. They could have, each one of them could have been operating me somewhere in their life. I don't know, or a case like that, right? But you see, then they take it out on me. So that's how we got to the part where I start cursing people. But yeah, I have to do it, or the system's going to destroy me beyond the point of me doing my work. You have to respond somehow. Right? And really, for what they did to me, I'm a very mellow person. Right? So I believe they created Omar Mateen, and it could have been agent rivalry. Like the agent and the officers that handled Omar Mateen may have been the targets by destroying Omar Mateen and his family. Right? Oh, well, what's wrong with? Because what's wrong with you? What's wrong with the person you handled? I don't know who it is. Right? I mean, that's how careless, reckless they are. They don't give a shit about nobody. I mean, nobody. They're just sickos. But I believe they were created by foreign spies and backed by foreign spies. So the whole Vince Foster thing, I could actually Google it right now, probably, but I got to get my work done here. Right. The whole Vince Foster thing may have been related to the arrest of Hansen. May have been acting out because they arrested Hansen. No, I believe Hansen was protected for years. They won't tell you that part. Right. Thank you, Larry. Well, the key is you can't investigate. That's where they got me. You can't investigate certain people. Right. That's the key to the deep state. You can't even look at them. It's not like, oh, you can investigate them, you have to clear them. I mean, sometimes that happens because people, but then they'll start killing everybody. Well, the easiest way to destroy the United States government is to create these cells of deep state. Right. It's like it's like a disease, right? And it spreads. Right. And of course, they'll focus them on anybody that's capable. But again, I think that's in the psychology. I don't think they actually have to. I mean, I'm sure they focus them on certain people, like foreign spies will focus them on me and other people. But I believe they have a sickness. They just go after capable people. Right. Thank you, Larry. So in Ohio right now, they may have somebody that drugs people, and they'll look that person up, or they may be starting. Well, this guy's so rotten. This guy, and just keep hyping them up. And again, a lot of it is willful ignorance, right? But they're getting paid for it. They're having a better life, and if they don't do it, Satan takes their life down. Maybe the spycraft thing takes their life down. So again, it's something the United States would use, but it's not being used for the purposes of the United States, right? So again, what they'll do is they'll say, when I say this, well, of course the United States has something like that. Right. Oh. But, they're not using it for the United States. Well, there's the Old City Indoor Pistol Range, lethal weapons training. It's like the first thing I did after the military. That's Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Old City Indoor Pistol Range, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is to certify that Lawrence M. Moore has satisfactorily completed the course of study as prescribed by Pennsylvania Act 235, lethal weapons training, issued this 4th day of September, 1992. What was that guy's name? I can't read it. He signed it, but Director of Training and Education. That's a former cop, a Philly cop. He's like a legend or something. He was into Corvettes. He said he always owns a Corvette. He said one time he was riding through the city and they tried to I don't know, it was something like a carjack, but they were They just said like they verbalized the carjacking, and I think they were still like in the car next to him or something. And he just pulled out his pistol and pointed it at them, and they woo drove off. But he was an honest cop. He said I work with a Spanish guy. And he used to abuse, falling up the steps and all that. I forget what the moral of the story was. I think he eventually got. He may have. I can't remember if nobody did anything to him because they were corrupt. Like he was telling us the Philadelphia cops are corrupt, or or they actually, eventually he got busted. Right. I can't remember what the ending of that was. But none of that falling up the steps. Yeah, he did a good job because he did a lot of professional responsibility. Right. Probably did more than the Marshal Service did. Come to think of it. They see I was probably in to have done that. I mean, I guess I left the military, prior to that year. I think I left around Christmas or something. If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember. But I went on leave, like January. I think I went on leave, but I wasn't officially out of the government till like March. So like that short period after I got that certification. Right. And then of course I went to the pistol range that the former cop owned, and and then he talked about the Vietnam vet that he had to take down. That was, he was like, he says, you hear this stuff, but he said this dude was real. This dude was like, his hands were registered. I mean, like that level of expertise, right? And he said that man's hands, and he was huge. He was like, like 6'5" or something. And he said, he said, he started fighting, and he was going to kill him. He's that big, or you're gonna have to shoot him. He said, "I'm going to shoot him." So he's trying to tell. He's giving real life uh, examples of use of force, right? And again, he's actually opting for less force because he could have shot him, right? But the whole thing is that he says, "I pulled back with him." He had the blackjack, the billy club, right? And he pulled back baton, I guess they call it today. He pulls it. He pulls. He says, I both hands. I pulled back as hard as I could, as far as I can, because he's afraid of this guy. It wasn't like he was trying to torch this guy or anything. But he said, I pulled back as far as I can. I let it fly, and I hit his shoulder, and I broke it. I broke, between the elbow and the shoulder, and he broke that whatever that bone is in there. And he went ah, and it stopped him. So he says, he goes, right. But he said, he'd either kill us or or I'd have to shoot him, right? So he did save that guy from having to be killed. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.